So my apologies. It's shocking that I was not the person who was responsible for breaking the meeting tonight. But we're doing our best to kind of go through. So we're a little bit hybrid. I know that the cold kept some people away. It's freezing outside. My dogs are mad because I didn't walk them. So I'm just going to go through the remote meeting procedures and then we can begin. This meeting will be conducted both via Zoom and in person. Attendance will be remote and in person. Everybody, I think we definitely have quorum. The meeting will not be broadcast live on ECAT just because of the way in which we're not able to log on. It will be recorded. It's actually recording right now and it will play back.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you promote Kelly Percio to as a panelist?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, it was Kelly's iPad. There we go.
Thanks.
Perfect. Y'all have the link because clearly you're here. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures. However, there'll be necessitate some additional meeting protocols while the board members and applicants will be on video. Public participants will join the webinar as an attendee, meaning they are muted and no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, of the public can be recognized by raising your hand, found under participants for Zoom, or make a request with the Q&A function. So Hassan, I'm not quite sure.
So that's Amira, I think, because Sirhan and Sirhan.
But we have two.
So I don't know if she's doing one video and one screen.
Okay.
See if she can unmute or.
Amara, are you both Hassan and under yours? Because I have two. I have a panelist, Hassan Sirhan.
No,
and then...
I have, it's only me. I think my husband may be watching on public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
We love fans. All right. So if he wants to make a request or talk, he just has to put something in the Q&A and then we will recognize him and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then you just have to state your name and address for the record. There's a markup in Zoom. I don't think anybody's presenting, although Carol's, if you are here and you're going to present, I'll give you an opportunity to do that. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated. Anybody who abuses the meeting platform will be terminated. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded at the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second so that it will be clear to the audience and minute takers, thank you, Kelly, who made the motions. All votes will be by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. I've promoted everybody here. And like I said, I know it's a little bit weird just because the way in which our ECAT was not able to sign in. So without further ado, let's jump and did everybody have an opportunity to review and approve the minutes? Oh, Kelly, so the folks who are in this meeting here, Bob, Liz, Michelle, and Craig, and myself. Oh, no, thanks. All right. Did folks have an opportunity to review the minutes?
And just to clarify, these were the minutes from November that I had sent out since we did not have the December meeting.
Thanks, Liz.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Thanks, Bob. Bob has made a motion to accept.
Second.
So either Michelle or Durant second. So I will call the roll.
RBS.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Probably somebody else.
I think Amira is before you, right?
It depends on whether going with Amari versus Sirhan.
I don't think I have the meeting minute. Maybe it's not included in the email.
No, it wouldn't be included in the email. It's a separate email.
It would be from November.
I don't think I have it.
Okay. So you can just abstain.
Okay.
Barger,
Mira Maui, okay.
Vote yes.
Bornstein, yes.
Amira
Devon-
Maui, yes.
oh, okay, you found them, perfect.
Adams, yes.
Oh, I forgot about you, Phil, sorry.
That's okay.
If the Ransma Emmons, yes.
Foster, yes.
Clevenger, yes.
Gershman, yes. I can't see everyone's names, so
I know.
Gershman, yes.
Harder this way.
And then I think we just need Kelly.
Perseo, yes. I couldn't figure out if I was last or not, or if I was next after Amy. I'll just keep that in mind.
All right, so motion is approved. For the membership update, I'm gonna jump because I see that Carol's is here now. So Carol's, I'm gonna promote you to a panelist and then we can come back to that discussion. Sound good? All right. There you are.
Hey everyone. Thank you for the invitation. Did you just want me to get started?
Sure, that'd be great. Some of us are here, some of us are, oh yeah, there we go. Bob, get over here.
Cozy.
All right, so that's, we're all here now.
Okay.
Yeah. Stay warm.
I was one of the lucky few that has never really had to share their screen, but I do have a presentation.
Okay.
And if you bear with me, let's see how this is gonna work. All right. Thanks. No idea. Oh, I don't have systems access. Cool. Okay.
I gave you permission, so let me know if you're having trouble.
It might be, I think I have to leave and come back
Okay.
because it's my computer telling me. Oh, wait. Yeah, let me leave and come back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, if I download it as a PDF, can someone else do it? Like share it on their screen?
Yeah, we
Okay.
should, hopefully. Are you gonna put it in the chat?
Let me know if that works.
That'll be interesting. If you can put it in the chat, then everybody can see it. Perfect. Okay.
Do you want one of us to share? Beth, do you want me to share
That
yours?
would be amazing, because I'm afraid that I'll blow up the screen.
Whoops. All right, can everyone see it?
Yep.
Okay. Just let me know when to flip slides.
Great. You can probably go to like the third slide. Yep, this one. So thank you for having me again. The first time I was here, I introduced myself and then spoke to you all a little bit about my entry plan and sort of the questions that I would be formulating, some of the stakeholder groups that I would be speaking to gather information and some of the data that I would be looking at. And so last year is what Dr. Cabral likes to call our new directors, your listening and learning year. Then this year I was able to present my entry findings to the school committee along with the entire leadership team. And this presentation is in report form on the website under the DEI tab. But for today, I sort of tried to create a shorter version of the report just to give you the highlights and then answer any questions that the group may have. So you can go to the next slide. So one of the great things about coming into a new district and having the opportunity to create an entry plan is that this isn't something that is a Carol's report. This really came from our Easton voices and many of our stakeholders. And out of the report, one of the biggest strengths is really the district's commitment to the work of DEIA, or diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. I saw that and I heard that throughout the community, within our classrooms, speaking to our leaders, speaking to our students, teachers, and families. And really, I within our educators, I saw that in a lot of the times we say, where are you putting your money? And a lot of the professional development that we have been providing for our staff has been with the culturally responsive lens. And that's something that you'll also see within the new strategic plan. One of the other great reasons why the commitment is so strong is because of our community partners. So groups such as yourselves, but also we were able to have a table over the summer at the Easton's Pride event, and I was able to get to know many community members in that way. I also held our cafecitos and conversations, which are just coffee hours, and I was able to do that at different municipal sites throughout the town to get to know more of the community members that I wouldn't necessarily get to know throughout the school year because maybe they don't have school age students. And that was really appreciated. And you can go to the next one. So what are some of our areas there where we can grow? And that really is in the aspect of belonging. But belonging isn't just a buzzword. And you can move on to the next slide. You'll see throughout our data, anecdotal and through whether it's our youth health data or our MCAS data, you'll see that we do have an opportunity gap. I don't like to say an achievement gap because it truly is an opportunity. And it is more than just our education, whether it is our extracurriculars or it is our summer jobs, or it's our families that are looking for after school opportunities for their students because they have to, their working hours don't meet our school hours. We really do have a huge gap. What I like to say is right now, the data is showing us that we're aiming towards the middle and we're leaving our outside groups without support. And I spoke to you all about the professional development. So one of the
Sorry.
you can go to community. Thank you. One of the other things that we saw, and if you've taken a look at the entry findings from Director Davidson, who's our Director of Special Services, and Director Ramos, who's our Director of Instructional Data, it was communication, is communication. It's also one of our strategic initiatives in our strategic plan. So traditional methods of communication are not accessible to everyone. Again, we were sort of aiming towards the middle. We were losing out on key stakeholders. And one of the things that we rolled out this year, and if you are a parent in the district, you may even have seen interpreters at our larger meetings. We're trying to be more proactive in that sense to make sure that we're widening the net of our families to feel like they belong in all of our spaces at school. We also rolled out our new platform called Parent Square that automatically translates any of our communication that is embedded. And You can't hear me at all? Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Oh,
We can hear you.
okay. I don't think town hall can hear me. Okay, should I keep going?
Did Beth write in the chat? Since I'm sharing, I can't see the chat, but did she, what did she say?
Michelle said that they cannot hear me.
Okay.
I can hear you.
What would you like me to? I will keep going.
We're back.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got kicked off the internet.
Oh, okay. Great, we're back. So avenues like our news communication system with Parent Square is allowing more engagement from all of our families. And at the high school, they've also piloted Student Square. So now the hope is, so some of our students and our student leaders through their clubs are communicating in that avenue. But also we're hoping that soon we can get our sports and extracurriculars to communicate in that avenue as well. But again, like I said, this isn't just a DEIA goal. This is really a district goal. I heard since my first interview that one of the biggest things that the community wanted to see is a staff that reflected the demographic of our students. And that's not just race, that's lived experiences, that's where whether they first went to trade school, whether you switched careers, it really is what you're bringing to the table as the adult in the room. And so in this case, that is one of our goals as well, is to hire and retain diverse staff. One of the things we did last year, which I'm not sure if you all would notice, but we hosted the MPDE job fair, which is for diverse candidates. And we actually were able to hire from just that job fair 3 candidates. So they now work in our school district. But really, it's not just the hiring. I believe the most important piece is the retention. And that has to do with making sure that all of our spaces are safe, not only for our students, but also our adults. We need to make sure that, and that's where I alluded to the first time I met with you all, is it's important for all of us to work together because we don't teleport to and from work. We drive through the town. If I forgot my lunch, I'm going to the beanery, I'm going to the Peach. So making sure that the entire community is inclusive and safe for all of our staff is important. You will notice a lot of our building leaders are using the words vertical alignment. We are trying to make sure that you are seeing a semblance of the same experience at every school, understanding that developmentally some things will be different. But we want to make sure that if you're a family that has a first grader, a middle schooler, and a high schooler, that the expectations are going to look similar to the day-to-day of the student. So we're doing a lot of vertical alignment, and we're working with the school committee's subcommittee policy to make sure that our policies and our procedures are up to date and reflecting the current times. So this is just to reiterate, but really the vertical alignment of our conduct process and our handbooks. We're hoping to make the registration process or even on re-enrollment. So every year when you come back to school and those emergency, you'll notice this year, if you're a parent, all of those, that big packet that you used to get, that welcome packet of emergency contacts and everything is now online. We're trying to make it as accessible and as feasible for everyone. And really cultivate an environment that is authentic of the student experience. I think, yep. So I have started I created the affinity group for our BIPOC educators called the Tiger Collaborative. We've only had our first meeting, which was really just trying to connect educators from the 4 buildings, just so that they know that there are others, but making sure that that group is strong, that there's strong mentorship, and really building that pipeline if they want to continue and grow as leaders. Again, the vertical alignment of the code of conduct, and working with the town along with our leadership team to build a strong network of resources for our families across the board. That's it. I'll take any questions.
That's helpful. Do y'all have any questions?
Charles, it's Craig Barger. What's the relationship with RMK? How are they interfacing with your staff and your students?
So we still have our partnership with RMK. They are currently in about 17 classrooms, PK to 5. They did a professional development. They did 2 breakout sessions for our staff on election day. That professional development day that we had on building culturally responsive lesson plans. And we also have supported them in coming into our pre-K daycare classes, our staff daycare. So they've also created a partnership with the Y to branch out to the pre-K that we have at the staff daycare. They also, in the past, have done the I Love Me program for our secondary students at the middle school. And that's really self-image and empowerment, almost like a crash course. It's about 2 weeks and it's after school. And we were waiting to solidify our after school transportation at the middle school to see if we could still run it, because if not all students had the ability to make it, then I didn't feel comfortable running that. So that's something to look forward to in the spring.
Thank you.
Hi, Carols. This is Liz Bornstein. What are you seeing or hearing either from students or families or teachers in terms of themes this last year, like things that are going well, things that are not going well, in terms of like broad subject areas that this committee could possibly help provide education or training on?
I think our students are needing community outlets. That's one of the biggest things that we're seeing with if you're not involved in a school after school activity, then there's really nothing for our students. And that's a big struggle for our families, but also our students in the middle range, that middle school age. It's like they're not old enough to sort of get jobs or to do those high school sports. Really, middle school activities end around like 4. So then they're not busy.
And is the goal to have them busy in person?
No.
Okay.
No. Our students since COVID have been pretty much 1-to-1 on devices, and even when our students and their families don't have the means for internet, we have hotspots that we have lent out to families to make sure that our students are getting any needs met. But we also have we're struggling with wraparound services. I think when school isn't in session, you can see almost a regression on multiple fronts. So really, that's why it's one of my initiatives as well, is to really branch out and see how the school department and town and community areas can support.
So meaning the summer or even just breaks?
Yes, yes. Last year we had a grant. I'm not sure if it's going to run for the Math Acceleration Academy during February, April, and I believe even summer. I'm not sure, given the lack of funding, grant funding, that will run. And as you may know, Maplewood closed for after school. The YMCA was able to get an increase on, and I know this is like, I'm really throwing ideas out. I know you guys can't like start an after school club, but just trying to express the need of our families and our students, really. So the Y increased their after school numbers, but it's still not enough. It wouldn't meet what Maplewood was holding.
Carol, do we know, I don't know that, that Maplewood closed its after-school program. Was that a financial thing, or was that just lack of referrals, or what?
I don't have an idea.
From what I saw, because Jack used to go there, they sent out a notice, it was just lack of kids. I think the pandemic, people working from home, and there just wasn't the need to make it financially viable.
Carol's saying that there is a need, so.
I think there has to be a certain level that makes it sustainable. I mean, they're still open this
Need and
summer.
pain
Yeah,
are different.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I get it. Okay.
It was not cheap,
Yeah, okay.
so.
Carol's, anything thematically you're seeing related to our committee's oversight? You know, are you seeing patterns and successes or challenges related to religious identity, sexual identity, racial identity?
I don't want to knock on wood or definitely minimize any families that are struggling with this, but if you recall last year I came and I said, you know, our bullying numbers were extremely high. Since then, we've done a lot of education with our students, our families, and our staff, and our numbers are not where I'm seeing them. The same goes with our bias incidents. They are still happening. They are. But really not at I think it's happening at the secondary level. They're starting to sort of level out. And I think it's our newer, almost like upper elementary that I think we need to reframe our focus on. And that's one of the things that I'm working on with RMK as well, because that's their target area. And so how can, like, let's really look at that data and how can we support them? And I think it makes sense that if that is their target area, that once our students start to grow, they have come with a baseline now through RMK. But they're not as egregious as I saw. The volume is definitely lower. Now that said, one incident is one too many. So we want to be at a place where I can sit here and tell you that we're at a 0, and we are not. But we're working. I think a lot of the proactive education that is happening, not only for our students, but also for our families, is really helping. And we're having families that are reaching out and asking us for support too, which is extremely important, because this can be a tough subject for a parent to reach out and say, I need help. And that just means that we're providing an avenue, a safe avenue for our families to reach out. And whether it's, you know, you feel comfortable with the whole school building, or you just feel comfortable with one person across the district, that's really all we want. so that we can try to support each family.
That's helpful. And I think, please know, we're also a referral, right? The kids go to school, but the parents don't. So we're always here to help partner. I just, talking about being proactive, I know during the last Trump administration, hate crimes went up, other incidents went up. I'm assuming that folks are kind of keeping their eye on the ball with that as well, if you want to talk to some of those efforts.
Yes, I think right now we're at a place where we are vigilant. We really don't know what to expect. And so we're sort of ready. We've been talking about this since last year, the possibility. And so we're really leaning on our entire leadership team just did a hate crimes PD, the AG's office 2 months ago. So we're really making sure that we're looking at what are some signs and what is a hate crime, what isn't. Just trying to stay as proactive as possible. We know that there may be some changes to Title IX, but in regards to our school committee policies, those are up to date as of what August 1st brought us. And we will just continue to stay up to date with the law as it comes. We
Just so
are
folks- I've used up all my hotspot data. So because I wasn't able to get on the internet. So if you see people kind of glitching, that's just because of that. Okay. So we're still here for now. If somebody wants to give me the password to the Easton, to this building, that'd be great. But if not, we'll just keep glitching. So. It made me get a password. So hold on, let me see if I can jump.
as she's figuring that out, we are also getting a lot of guidance from the Department of Education, from DESE, along with our state government in protections for our students. So we're trying to stay as informed as possible with the new administration that is incoming.
Charles, I greatly value all that you are doing. And I know there's a lot of tight partnership happening. Are you seeing anything in other communities that human rights committees can do that would help support a plan like this? Is there anything that we can or should be doing differently to help educate and create more community awareness on some of the things that you're working on?
I think that I had my only other town, because this is a unique committee, not many towns have them. And so the only other experience I've had is in the South Shore, and they have been very vocal when they hear about negative things happening in the community. I don't hear about them unless they involve a student, and only if the families reach out to us. I don't know if you all hear about it, but I think just being vocal about not supporting hate, and I think that goes a long way. It goes a long way definitely for our staff. I'll tell you, it goes a long way for me. And so just knowing that I'm driving in and out and through a town that is supportive and is safe is goes a long way.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have you back somewhat soon with updates if need be. And please let us know how we can support any of your efforts.
Yes, I was supposed to say two things before I left.
Sure.
Is a PACE open house tomorrow at the Queesit House.
Yep.
Okay. And um I did not have it in the presentation, but I will forward it to you all. We do have a new equity statement and commitments. If you all could just share that out, that would be great. That is tied in with our strategic plan, which you will hear more about as we head into budget season, because it really drives all of our decision making in the district. Other than that, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Carol.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. So next membership update. Let's go to the second one first. House first Tuesday for everybody. That one's easy. Want to do that? First Tuesday of the month. First Tuesday of the month will be our meeting date. So that, because I know that there were some conflicts. So that will be, the next one will be February 4th. And then it will be March 4th. Oh, and then April 1st. Wow, April Fool's Day on that. So we'll keep that first Tuesday of every month. Sound good? I will inevitably mess that up, so somebody will need to remind me.
Are we
Okay.
gonna meet regularly in person?
I think Liz just asked regularly in person. I would love to kind of plan on next, what are we in January, February, to be all of us in person. I think there'll always be a Zoom link for Kelly to get minutes and everything else, but if we can make an effort, that'd be fantastic, so we can kind of see one another in person. Hopefully it won't be -15 again, and we can leave our houses, and it's actually very warm in here today.
Yeah.
All right, so we will try to, at least next, we will plan on next meeting in person February 4th. All right, fantastic. All right, so the language change, and I know, yep, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to be transparent for a moment. I often have a 6-year-old with me and it is dance night, so I can't drop him to other humans. So I will do my best to always be in person, but sometimes I can't find other people to take him. So just being transparent.
Yeah, and
I do my best. So that's why I turn my video off sometimes, because Amy knows my son well, but he shows up often. So
yeah, and there'll always be that option. I think if we can just try the majority of us to be in person, that'd be great, right?
No, you
Something,
can bring it here, and you can actually member of the committee.
and there's lots of space that he could dance. I'm just saying.
he would happily hang out with Amy and Michelle more than me, actually, but that's okay. He knows them both well, so it's all good. But I just wanted to be
All right.
transparent on my lack of always
Yeah.
ability to attend in person.
We will always, like I said, we'll always have that option, because we just for minutes or anything else. So now comes to the language change. So Phil and I had a conversation today. So about the language change, and I think that, you know, we can't really talk until we all get here. There was, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that the union issue that kind of kept the officer from regular attendance has been mitigated, and that there should be somebody who'll be able to come on a regular basis.
Yeah, so basically, since I joined the committee a year and a half ago, and before me, the last deputy chief, we aren't union members. I think it was more of an understanding in speaking with Karen Chan at the time, that, you know, we'd be apprised of anything that was relevant to the police department and would be asked to join and come on meetings as necessary. So not necessarily on a usual basis. That said, I can do my best to attend, but I'm also, I read the minutes in the proposals. If the committee has another member and that's gonna, you know, make quorums easier, I'm not offended if I'm not a voting member. I completely understand. similar. I have my 3-year-old here. I don't know if you saw her before. My son actually has indoor baseball on Tuesdays, believe it or not. Thank God it's indoors. So I Tuesdays are a little tough. I'm home with her now, but completely up to you. I like I said, I can. It was kind of more of an understanding that meetings where I would be beneficial to attend. I'm certainly here for you. And if more regular attendance is required, I can certainly do that. It's part of my position. I'll be at Queesa House tomorrow, so I do have some meetings at night. So obviously I leave that up to the committee, whatever you guys think is best. If you have another position that will change the quorum, I get it.
I would defer to Craig and Michelle and Kelly on this about just how other town committees best operate. I think, Phil, the challenge we had in the past was it actually like was a policy for the police that they would get paid for meeting attendance in the evening. And so that was the reason there was not a regular police presence for the original meetings. And I think
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that was like, I won't get into all of the union details and stuff, but I believe it was a union position. Definitely it would be significant overtime costs too, with minimum hours and stuff. But with me in the position currently, it would just essentially be up to me to attend, and there wouldn't be a cost to the department for that.
Okay, and so then the question for, I think, Craig, Michelle, and Kelly is like, what's the best practice, right? If you have someone who's listed as a voting member, but for any number of reasons is a little bit more of an occasional attendee, mathematically, it throws off the quorum if this person, I mean, let's just say hypothetically that Phil makes like half of the yearly appointments or something like that. Whereas like for the rest of the committee, really the expectation is 3/4. What do you feel is best practice in that situation?
Well, what's important is what the committee thinks the role from the police presence is, and whether or not we need Phil every meeting, or whether we need him only when there's some things that are coming up that need some discussion or some direction. Increasing the numbers of voting members can create a problem with quorum.
Right.
I know that Michelle, I think I saw something from Michelle saying maybe we should have uneven number under 12, because you have 12 and then you have 66. I mean, does that make sense? But it's going to have to go back to the select board for discussion about any changes to the mission statement.
I mean, I think there's value in having the police at every meeting the same way that we have school committee and select board representation, right? It is just another pocket of our community for Phil to share what he hears and for us to share information that neither one of us might ahead of time know is significant, but one of us would say like, oh, I'm glad I heard that because, and it reminds you of something.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff organically comes up at our meetings that we just didn't put, it wasn't a quote agenda item. There's just through conversation that something important comes up.
Well, is it more important to have Bill or a representative from the police department at regular meetings than it is to have students? Because right now we have 12 members. Maybe even 13 members.
I think the student would be 13 if we keep police at voting.
I think given feedback that I've heard from Carol's and the experience that we're having on the school committee when we give students greater voice in terms of the student sessions that we have and having a student representative on school committee, although they aren't a voting member, I think it's tremendously impactful. So I would advocate strongly for having a student on here. I guess we could debate and discuss whether that's a voting member, but I think it's super important.
But to Michelle's point, the student doesn't, on school committee doesn't vote, right? So there's,
Correct.
but there's still, right, we still want them to come. The only difference is they're not gonna take a quorum or minutes or some of the other voting that we have. So in
That
some,
is an option. Yes.
so in some regard, we could actually add the student without voting rights. We could even have police continue without voting rights, or we can have the police continue with voting rights and the student not. So, I mean, there's all sorts of different options.
Why have to fulfill? Do you feel that voting rights are an important part
You know,
from your perspective?
I don't necessarily think, I don't think it's necessarily important, no. I think it's more for input. And, you know, to be a liaison than anything. Like I said, I have operated under how it's been under, since I spoke with Karen from the beginning and the former civil rights officer, it was our understanding, and I apologize if that understanding was wrong, that we'd come as needed and requested when relevant, but I can absolutely attend more regularly. Obviously I do work during the day. We all have things at night, things that come up, but I don't see a reason why I couldn't be here regularly. But whether that's voting or non-voting, I certainly, like I said, not offended if I'm not a voting member. I think it's more to provide information to you is what's important. So whatever the group decides, I'm perfectly fine with that.
So right now there's 12 members. So,
12 voting members, right? Because everybody who's a member votes.
right, there's 12 voting members. And if you add a student without voting record, it doesn't impact. It's similar to what the school. committee does.
Right.
So are people comfortable doing that? Because I'd rather have Phil more actively involved, particularly given some of the issues that I'm aware of that happen in communities, including Easton. So we need to know more about what's going on, or either Phil comes to us with stuff, or we give Phil material that we're finding out. I think it's important to have that representation. I'm not wedded to the idea of a student having voting rights. I think the student.
Well, there's no precedent for it.
Yeah, well, we'd have to change the mission statement if we're gonna do that.
Well, we have to change it anyway because we'd want a student without voting rights because we don't currently have that.
If we decide we want to have a student,
Right.
I don't know if everybody agrees that we should have a student, so that, you know, that.
But
So-
the other opportunity or the other thing is also to not impact quorum, right? Because quorum is only impacted by the voting members. Correct?
Yeah.
So if because we recognize that Phil is going to make a concerted effort to get to more, but sometimes life happens and he can't. So if the voting right of the police officer is removed, the student doesn't, then we're down to 11. And then,
And if the goal is an odd number, is that what you're looking for, you know? And
right, it doesn't impact the role. I mean, truly, the only difference is the votes. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's usually, I mean,
With 12 members, you need 7 is cool.
right, with 12, you need,
And right, and if
So
he
it's the
becomes
same.
non-voting,
oh, so it's gonna be, okay.
right, so non-voting, so then it's 11, then we have quorum is 6.
right?
Yeah, again, my preference is to have Phil as a voting member.
Okay,
That may be really important going into the next 4 years.
yeah,
The also.
So,
Or important.
How
Kelly?
do people feel?
sorry, Michelle, you were cutting out slightly. Can you repeat what you said?
she just said that it might be important for police to have voting membership.
So I guess I had a question. When I joined, Emma was on Human Rights Committee. Didn't she have voting rights at that time?
Emma, but she was a at-large member. So she wasn't it wasn't a specific position for a student. She just
Got it.
ran for that at-large membership.
I have a question. How is the police human rights officer chosen, and how does that, is that an annual position, or how does that work? I guess that's a question for you, Phil.
So Phil, how do y'all decide who is a member of this committee? He might have stepped out.
Sorry, no, I'm here. I just had to run away from the kids, so I had to turn the camera off. So it was a position that was provided to the officers, and at some point, I believe, probably going back 6 or 7 years, that position changed over and it became the responsibility of the deputy chief, who was so that was Keith Boone at the time. And once Keith Boone was promoted to chief, then it became my responsibility. So that's the short of it. Yes. So it's basically in practice now it's the deputy chief.
So it's part of the job description of the deputy chief.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's technically in the job description, but in practice, it's the deputy chief, at least in the last.
Officer, is that correct?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
You function as the human rights officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Civil rights officer, but yeah.
I think it's critical to have Phil as a voting member. That's fine.
Okay.
5 times about it.
So I would say, like, when we talk about a hierarchy for meeting organization right here, the chair's schedule, the vice chair's schedule, and in this case, the civil rights officer, select board, and school committee schedules, in my opinion, should be prioritized over the at-large members. So I would be willing to reevaluate the days if that works better, like for Phil and Kelly.
Yeah, so I mean, for me during the week, right now, Tuesdays aren't great, but like I said, I can make it work if I have to step out to the car, whatever the case may be. If it works for the rest of the group, I'll make it work.
Well, we also have the Zoom option too, which I think hopefully alleviates some of the burden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kelly, would you want to change days or times?
No, I mean, Thursdays are school committee and Wednesdays is another committee, so it adds up. It is what it is. There's always first training of children in my house, but it's just sometimes the in-person can be more difficult right now. So all good. I do think I think it would be good to think about how we do sort of regular reports from those committees as part of our regular agendas, maybe a periodic, one time it's Phil, one time it's me in terms of things that are going on or things that we're hearing. Because I think that's where we can contribute more about what we hear from the cross committee elements to it. And if we bring a student on, I want them to feel that they have voice. I don't want to bring them on and make it seem like a token exercise. So one of the things that we've done with school committee is to make sure that the student is giving a student representative update. So if that person is joining and giving a perspective of what's happening in the schools or their own club that they're engaged in that relates to this, I think there's opportunity to make sure that they're contributing that. Michelle, you reacted to that hopefully positively. Go ahead.
Well, when we got to that part, one of the ideas that I was wondering about was possibly, how the school committee person works with Kelly and the different principals, or that committee. Maybe this person, if we have to choose to have a student, can be working with Carol's.
I was thinking that.
I'm happy to help facilitate
Yeah.
that. Or, meet with Carol.
I can.
Start to have those conversations if that's something she's even open to. But it seems like that would be a logical connection and purpose for that person.
I would love to see if we could get a human rights committee for the high school, like a school related human rights committee. And if Carol's willing to sponsor that and to provide some mentorship and guidance to the student. One of the key messages that Kelly provides frequently as a high school principal that I just think is incredible is that she believes strongly in student voice and choice. And it's something that we've leaned into as a school committee. And I think if we're inviting them to participate, they need to feel a level of voice and choice, because the next 4 years aren't going to be easy for anyone, including them. And they often in lots of places don't have voice when it comes to these issues because of their inability to vote. So we could work, another sponsor could be the civics chair. Michelle, is another way to consider how to incorporate a student. But I would feel strongly that they feel a level of responsibility and contribution, and that we want them here for a voice and not just to have them as a non-voting member sort of observing.
Yeah, I think.
Amy, I think you probably had a thought to that too, because I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, I fully agree. And this might be a really stupid question, but if we're going for an odd number, why can't they both be voting members? And we get to 13, which is, I know it's one more to make quorum, but it doesn't introduce a.
It's the same number. If we have 12, you still need 7.
So 13 is still 7.
Why do you?
Right.
We vote, Amy.
What?
Why do you feel strongly that they vote?
Well, exactly. Well, if the message the town is trying to give is like, you have a voice and you have a choice, even as a student, like, I feel, why can't we set the precedent to have the student be a voting member and double down on that messaging?
And I think the school committee has a student who reports out at every meeting about the different things going on in the schools, and so they have a purpose and a role, but they're still not a voting person.
I hear you. I guess I see it differently in that the school committee has the student representative, but that they can't be in certain sensitive things like executive session as a member of school committee because of the responsibilities of the executive sessions and the things that are associated with it. I think it would be a conflict of interest in some ways, I guess I would say, just for the same reason you can't have a sitting teacher on school committee. Like, there's just certain things that they do create a conflict of interest. In this case, I guess what is resonating in my head is students are humans too, and we're trying to represent all the rights. And while we can't have every young voice represented, they're representing a portion of our town population and community that might need a space to be heard, and it could send a really powerful message. I wish we could pull Emma into this conversation, because I'd actually love to have her perspective on it as a student who had a voice and got to vote. But that's what sticks in my brain right now, is giving them the opportunity to speak in a way with a vote.
Right, quorum's still the same. So if anything, it might incentivize them to come, right? Because that's always been an issue of getting people there. I hear you on the difference between the school committee and our committee, because we don't have an executive session.
Two-thirds for quorum, right?
No, majority.
Majority?
Where's our, the mission statement? Remember, we looked at it.
The charge.
Majority of something.
Yeah, no, it's majority.
So for 12, the quorum is 6.
7 has to be majority.
Okay.
And 13 would be 7 as well. And that's 2/3, and then
Right.
that's
And that
So it
actually
would help us make quorum, actually.
quorum easier.
And I think, Kelly, to your point before about giving voice, I mean, we have it on the agenda where for general updates, but we can make it more specific to the different collaboration. I mean, we could probably put it right under HRC collaborations, just have a different part on that, so. Okay.
Well, and Kelly, also, I like your focus of it, like this month, it's gonna be a police update. This month, it's gonna be school committee, because when the committee first started and we did these like updates, our whole meeting was the updates. Like, we never got to doing anything. So I think being like focused and selective would be a good way to go about that.
Yeah, just a rotating item could be powerful.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why we don't at least vote on whether to have both of them be voting members.
So hearing Kathy, you making a motion to vote on Phil stay or police stays as is, and now we have a student voting member. That's what I'm hearing.
And increasing the number of members to 13.
Increasing the members to 13 voting members, one of whom is a student. Is that the most?
Second.
I second. Oh, somebody else seconded.
All right, now we call Phil.
I'll abstain since it affects me.
It's fine. Good
It's
model.
keeping you. It's not really changing you. It's voting for the addition.
Yeah.
I'll abstain in case, you know, if anybody doesn't want me as a voting member, it's okay.
You know, Amira.
I agree, Amira Amar, I agree.
Craig.
Where is it?
I'm not voting member.
Are we voting on both?
The motion was both,
No, because who's not, Phil already has a vote.
right, so
We're
the,
just talking about adding a student with the 13th member of the committee
yeah,
with voting rights.
correct.
Right?
Yep.
That's the motion.
Yep.
Yes,
Barger, no.
Ornstein, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Ettinger, no.
Foster, yes.
Gershman, yes.
Garcia, yes.
Sirhan, yes.
Oh, I don't know how I got missed. Emmons, no.
Kelly, where does that leave us mathematically?
Because Phil abstained.
Are we 4-4?
I think we might be.
Well, I mean, Phil is currently a voting member, and then if this is only for the school committee, for the student,
Right.
then there's no conflict of interest.
So
for him.
Phil,
Oh,
Yep.
don't make him be the decider. Can I ask one question before we put it?
Sure.
Honestly, I have so much respect for the people who voted no. Can you explain your rationale for not wanting, since it won't impact quorum, it might even make quorum easier? Like, why no for a voting student?
I don't think it's necessary if we're allowing, if we're looking to have a student present, as does the school committee, I don't think that he or she does not need to have a vote. Don't we need to have someone who's invested in human rights and can represent the school perspective, or the student's perspective, very, very well. I don't think they need to have a vote in order to be able to be a member of the committee. That's my opinion.
And I agree with that. I think, it's a big commitment for a student to commit to coming to every meeting. You don't know what other sports they have or exams they have or whatever at any given point. I would like to see us set up the role of what that person does. Reach out to Carol. Will she even work with us if that's the route we want to go? Like that's the connection. See how it goes, and then maybe we can revisit a vote down the road. But right now, we don't even really know what that person's role looks like yet. I don't know.
And I agree with that. I don't think that we know what the role is going to be for that student. And I do think it's great to have a perspective from a student, but in regards to voting, I don't see why they would need to have voting rights. I do think that a lot of things are happening in the schools. Children are being influenced by adults or what's going on in their family dynamic. And so I just don't think that it would be effective for this particular group for a student to have voting rights. But I do think we need to have input from them, but I don't see why they would need to have voting rights.
And I agree. That's why I voted no. I mean, I respect students and I do want to have their input. But I think it does put a lot of pressure on the kids to be able to come to a majority of the meetings also. But I don't think they have to have an actual vote in order to give input.
Wasn't the vote 6-4?
That's what we were
I-
trying to count.
I think that's what it is.
Kelly McMorrow just,
There are 4 no's.
and
Right,
how many yeses?
and 4 no's.
Who are the yeses, Kathy?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought
That's
it was,
what I have, 6-4, sorry.
Oh, you did, okay, because, yep,
Great,
okay,
so we're done.
We're done.
So the motion carries. that
Yep.
Now we have to change the mission
Charter, yeah.
statement to go to select board for their,
13 with the student.
yeah.
Great, let's keep moving through the agenda.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna clean this up,
yeah,
and then get it to me, and I will get it to the select board.
yeah, Amy, do you and I want to work on that, and then we can send it to Craig?
Yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Sorry, I just thought it was gonna affect me. I didn't want to,
Oh, no worries, Phil.
if I had a vote, I was gonna vote. I was feeling under pressure, but
Don't worry, we didn't want to do that.
Still like it, Phil, it's okay.
All right. Any updates from collaborations? The Mass HRC, I know, Mariana sent something. Hold on one second. I can read it.
I'm on the emails, Beth. I have
Oh,
not been able to go to the last like 2 because of work. It's on Friday mornings during work hours. So
Okay.
if there's anyone else who wants to be added to the list,
Is this which one is this, Amy? The HRC, the Mass HRC or the
Yeah.
climate change?
this is the Mass HRC.
Okay.
That's Friday mornings. I did go to the climate change one.
Oh, perfect. All right. And somebody did send an update. For some reason, I can't find it in my email right now. Maybe I already filed it. So I can send out what that said after. My apologies. I had it up and then I just don't know where it went. Easton Shared Mission Group, Bob, any updates from there?
Yeah, just briefly, we had our last meeting on December 4th. And some of the information that we're talking about tonight, I was surprised at how many opportunities they have for kid events that were just flying out, particularly during December. And so the issue that we have is how do we get the information out to everyone? And so that's what we're going to be working at our next meeting. It's not enough to just, what's happening, they're coming to the meetings and they're saying, oh, by the way, tomorrow, let kids know we have a free party for them and we're linked with some of the groups in Brockton. And so there's been some great opportunities, but I just wanted to share a few things. We had a presentation by the Tricentennial Committee for all the people who were there. And we had an open space and recreation presentation. And excuse me. And I know that Rec Commission was talking about how they're planning a basketball event, Hot Shots program. It's going to be held sometime in March. So we'll make sure that we get that information out to the schools. They're also going to be hosting a Junior Ranger program. Dates for that is to be announced. Discussion about, I don't know where it is, but some splash pad is going to be set up for the summer for the kids.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm guessing it's probably the town pool area. And the library wanted to remind us that they do have a bulletin board that's in the library, and any information that anyone needs to get out, they will post it for us. We can send the information to them or drop it off. And then we had a presentation from Nathan from the National Resource Trust. And he was talking about the sheep pasture program and wellness walks that they're going to be offered in the spring, and they'll be for adults and for kids. And so our next meeting won't be until early March.
I think, one of the things that keying in is something Carol said about activities for kids. There clearly are activities for kids. The question is, how does it get communicated?
Exactly.
To the
Yeah.
citizens of the community? That's the key. And we have the, what's the thing on Fridays that they send out,
Town crier.
Town Crier, where I think there's 2,000 people on Town Crier, there's 20,000 people in the town, or 25,000. So we need to do a better job of trying to get that information out. But there are activities. We just need to know how do people get that information.
Parent Square, I think, is actually super helpful. But that's, how do we get the information from there to the folks who send it out
Right.
for the school people, right? And you're not gonna know about that, 'cause you don't have a kid in school, so it's like, if you're not on Parent Square, how would you know, right? So all those kind of 2 to 3-year-olds who might not be enrolled in the school, those are great things for them, but how are they gonna find out? Not just the town crier.
Well, if they're in daycare,
newspaper.
the
Right.
colony-wide daycare schools,
They'd know.
they will know the information.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a question of conversation with Bob's committee
Right,
and the schools about how to get the information out so that you know, we make a concerted effort to do that.
right.
And what I said at the meeting was, it's great to come and share all these activities, but when you're coming and saying, we have an activity in 3 days, doesn't give you enough time to be able to let people know. So we're working on a method for getting the information out ahead of time.
Or even a town calendar, right? So
Yeah.
just making sure it gets put on there and then people know to look for it.
Right.
Committee updates, anything from the superintendent advisory group?
Not been a meeting.
Hasn't been a meeting, okay. Okay. One scheduled for January? Maybe,
So our last meeting date we had was for, that I made that.
Right.
Stereotype.
Yep,
That kind of took its place.
okay. All right, well, you're looking up that. Amy, anything from the climate change committee?
January 27th.
All right, January 27th is the next superintendent advisory committee.
Who's our representative?
Zach is Michelle. Amy, anything from climate change?
Yeah, climate change, I'll keep it really brief, but I was really happy to be there. I learned so much. Basically what happened is Easton got a grant to kind of come up with a new action plan for I don't know, being more sustainable. And we hired a consulting company to come in and they ran this workshop. And we broke out into groups and kind of brainstormed ideas about how we could make our community more sustainable. So lots of great ideas thrown out. It was like a really long meeting, a couple hours. But one thing I was really pleasantly surprised by is that when we were brainstorming ideas, we considered lots of angles to each of the ideas, and one of them was equity. Like how could we make the whatever actions were being taken more equitable, and how could it be received equitably across the whole community, which was really great. Also, I don't know if everybody knew this, but we have something in town called a care team. Kristen Kennedy, I think, is either a part of it or runs it, and it's a group of people that identifies at-risk families in the community, and then and does whatever they can to support them. I don't know, I'm reading random notes, but basically, like, I wasn't even sure why the HRC might be like invited to that committee, but I was really glad I was there, and lots of positive conversations and outcomes. And I think it's the first of a like 3 or 4 part series. I don't even know if the next one is scheduled yet, but I would definitely be willing to go again.
Amy, I can jump in on that care team too. That's a partnership with the town clinician, the health department, the paramedicine from the fire department, and our outreach officer, Crystal Count.
I guess the reason I mentioned it is, one, I didn't know it existed, and it's such a great resource in town, and two, kind of in line with our mission. Like if we ever knew of a family who was at risk or felt unsafe, I talked to Kristen Kennedy just like off the cuff during a break or something, and she said that she'd be willing to partner with us if there was ever a need. So
Yeah, they're doing great work.
yeah, sounds like it.
Excuse me, but I think it's really important, now that Phil mentioned it, that we maybe have both Stephanie and Chris come to a meeting in the future to talk about what they're doing. Because they're doing some extraordinary work with at-risk families in this community. And they're
Absolutely.
a terrific team. And I keep embarrassing them when I see them to tell them how much we appreciate the work they do. But they are really good. And I think it would be nice to have them come to one of our meetings and tell us what they do.
Yeah,
Sounds
for
good.
context, it came up through discussion about if there ever was a natural disaster or something, what resources do we have in town? And I didn't even know it existed. So I don't know. Just wanted to share it.
Phil, do you want to invite them to one of our upcoming meetings if you have regular kind of contact with them?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, if you want it on the next meeting, I could certainly reach out to them, see if they're available.
That would be great. And remember, our next meeting is February 4th. We'll be in person or via Zoom. So we have that. The next one, the master plan committee, that's one I sit on. We actually did hire a consulting firm. We've been meeting. I think that there's going to be upcoming sit downs and, they want town input. So once I have a better sense of what those dates are, I'll let folks know. One of the conversations that we had, which might be interesting, is as we're doing these updates, is we're not redoing the master plan. It's just trying to refresh it, making better use or more use of the kind of shovel and compass, kind of what's on those town signs, and kind of rebranding our town, that we are Shovel Town, and trying to use that as a benefit. And with that, believe me, the folks at Stonehill are always happy to talk to you about shovels. So believe me. So that might be a good partnership. And I think we were going to reach out to Stonehill folks too, and try to get their input. So that's what we have there. Any updates from events Pride 2025? Possible dates and collaborations. I think Amy, you were talking about this the last time. Did we nail down a date? I think it was.
We did.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. I think my next step is to get in touch with Sean and request the road closure that day to make it official.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to do that before the next meeting. FYI, I also feel the need to revisit asking for a Facebook page for the event, not just an event page on the town committee. And I know Craig is going to make fun of me, but it's a really great way to get the word out. And I somehow want to propose that and try to get approval. And I'll talk to Sean about how to do that this time around. I think just promotion wise, we gotta grow it.
Absolutely not. We'd never make fun of you.
I agree, that would be.
It's okay. It's okay, Craig.
I think, yeah, a social, and our target audience, I think, is a lot still Facebook users, and especially if we have Google accounts on Instagram, that kind of hits there.
Yeah, I'll ask for Instagram too, even though I don't really know how to use
Social
it.
media accounts.
Yes, you can link those accounts.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, could we just say social media accounts? That way we're not just stuck in the meta universe. We could bounce to different, maybe we use Twitter, but we could do
Blue
what's the
Sky.
other one? Sky,
Amy-
yes.
Can you remind us what the date is?
Yeah, but I'd have to look back. Yeah, I for some reason just can't remember right this second, but yeah, give me a minute. Because it's the same. Kelly, what's the recital date?
Off the top of my head. Hold on, I'll get it.
It's the day before or day after.
We really do live life around dance. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the weekend after school gets out. And it's the weekend after the big tricentennial event because we had to bump to the following
Right.
weekend. It is the 21st because the recital is on my calendar for the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Pride is the 21st.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is the recital on a Sunday or a Saturday?
It's
Did I
on a
screw that up?
Sunday. I know.
It is on a Sunday. Okay.
I had to triple check. It's Sunday.
Okay. Thank you. So it's the 21st, everyone.
Thank you.
Dance mom math. Sorry.
And then we do have money, so if there are folks, right, it's already January. So if there are people who want to help with the kind of a subcommittee. So Amy has definite help and not everything's on her. Are there folks who are ready, willing and able? Michelle, anyone else?
Kathy raised her hand.
Kathy.
Amy, I told you I'd help with
Might
project
be
planning and
helpful.
organizing. So I'm in.
What are you saying, Liz?
It might be helpful to give a list of what the specific tasks are for newer members so that people can target their decision to volunteer.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to I've started writing up like more explicit direction too.
Well, maybe next month we can go over it and sort of because
Great.
we need a lot of help doing it. It's one of our biggest events. So almost everybody should try it and participate.
Yeah, it's a fun event. And we got really nice feedback from the Trans Remembrance Day. That was people who found it to be incredibly helpful to their families. So I want to pass that along. I think Liz, you were there too. Next one, speaker listening session. I admit I dropped the ball on this. Liz and I talked a while ago. I think it comes down to maybe just waiting a little bit and seeing what the needs might be and that present themselves over the next few months as well. I can tell you on the college aspect, there's a lot of discussion and can just worry about some of the changes that might be proposed by the Trump administration when it comes down to immigration and other things. And somebody had mentioned this before, one of the kind of just ground zeroing, and I wonder if this would be helpful for our committee, is just kind of a refresher on civics and understanding that not everything that gets proposed becomes law, that there's still the court system, that you can take things if there's an executive order. So I'll throw that out, just as something to consider as we move forward. But I think sometimes a refresher on civics is always super helpful.
Agree.
So
Beth, were you able to ever connect with Liza or Lisa?
I had been in contact with Lisa and they had given us, when we had left off in the fall, we were going to ask what her market rate was. Her market rate, I believe, I had shared in the November meeting was like $4,500, I want to say. And at the time, we were not ready to move forward and we were going to decide in December or decide at this meeting. They, to your point earlier, Amy, I think seem very willing to work with us at something that is not market rate. But I'm on board with Beth's decision to wait and see a little bit because it is hard to get people out to things. So I'm hesitant to commit to putting something on when our capacity is maybe a little bit lower.
yeah, and I recognize that, there are grant money and things that we have, but I'm concerned about even spending $1,000 or $2,000 for not a heck of a lot of impact, right? If it's just gonna be the same folks who are there, right, that doesn't seem to be a great use. So if we can kind of just see where things go, and what the needs that present themselves, I think a wait and see approach might be more helpful. Kathy, speaking of money, what's we got?
Speaking of money, so we currently have $7,342.41.
All right.
So that 2,500 is the grant that we got that's specifically for Pride.
So we can actually, maybe if I call a food truck, they'll actually come and do it for us. All right. G, general updates from committee members. Anybody got anything?
Beth, sorry,
Oh, that's all right.
you were breaking up before. Were we looking to have Officer LeCount and the clinician Stephanie come in on the 4th? Is that what we're looking for?
If they can, that'd be great.
Okay, no, I just want to double check because you
Yeah, that'd be
were
wonderful.
breaking up. Okay, yep.
Carol's had reached out to me yesterday asking for the religious calendar from our perspective for the upcoming school year. So for September 2025 through June 2026, because school committees in the process and administration of finalizing the calendar for next school year. So they wanted to have that as a reference. So last night I took exactly what we had last year. I just updated all the dates for the holidays for this next coming year. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood it was for next year because there was a little confusion and some
I was the one who was misread it, sorry.
Anyway, so I just need, if anyone has any feedback, if they can let me know, because I'd like to get it to her by the end of the week so that they can start using it and the school committee can start using it to plan the calendar for the following school year. Because typically you guys have that done, right, Kelly, by February?
We were really late last year, so I'm not even sure. We haven't seen the proposals yet. Usually multiple versions are proposed to us, but these all the religious holidays and observances go into that. So we actually haven't seen the proposal yet. So I think that would be at the next meeting because it's too soon to come for tomorrow for the Thursday meeting this week. So probably later in January.
These like several reads.
Yes, there are multiple reads. Multiple reads.
My only feedback is that when I did it from year to year, sometimes religious holidays fall within the school year and sometimes they're not, like around the September and June months, and then also weekends are not. So you have to update it with the new dates for what's listed, but also just like run down a list of religious holidays to make sure none of them fall within school days that didn't the prior year. You know what I mean?
Yep, I can certainly take things out. I was hesitant to do that because I know last year we added a holiday. I don't remember which one it was.
I might just say, just leave them in. Right, and then depending, because the school year can expand depending upon if we ever get
Right.
snow.
And we don't know what calendar they're gonna ultimately end up.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine leaving all of them in. I just know from years past, some of them have been excluded if, I don't know.
I have a folder that I started with 4 years worth. I'm missing 1 year
Awesome.
pandemic. My guess is we didn't do it, which is why it's missing. I'll reshare that with you guys all, just so we have it as a matter of record. And then we can just keep adding to that folder as we go
Cool.
every year. Great, thank you, but I'll go back and check.
Any other updates from folks?
Just another plug for the Peace Committee meeting tomorrow night. There is, if everyone can help share out that information through your own connections, it is a very important item to make sure that we are helping people better understand our current financials.
Kelly, do you
So
want us,
cue sitters.
is there a flyer in which you can send to the group?
Yes,
Kathy, if you want to send that out to the allies, that'd be wonderful.
yes, I can get a copy of that sent out.
Great.
I will be there as well.
There you go. We have a representative there in your dual role.
Yeah.
Mr. Roger.
All right.
We'll all
and
be there.
then Hassan is here, but I think he's just watching his wife, which is adorable. So Amira, do you have any, does he want to make any comments or anything? Because I can promote him to a panelist or what's happening there?
I'm not sure he can speak for himself. He's downstairs, so he can go ahead and do it.
All right. I'll promote him. I'm trying to, it's just not working, right? You're watching
You
this.
can put something in Q&A in if he wants to.
Yeah, it could, okay. Hi Hassan, do you have anything to add? I saw you were listed as an attendee. Do you have anything for us? I'm thinking no. Okay. He unmuted and then he muted again.
No, I think you need to unmute him because he's speaking. I can hear him, but he
Oh, he was unmuted. He unmuted himself and then he muted himself back.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Now I see myself. Hello, everyone. Now, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you for being you, and thank you for what you stand for. And with your efforts, I think we're going to become a really stronger nation and stronger new generation. I heard earlier the school representative. Oh, thanks again. The only thing I would think about, like periodically inviting some speakers, even to the school committees, to further, spread the word of equality and but that.
We will. Well, we've got school committee people on here, so. All right, thanks so much.
Thanks again.
I have to demote you, but don't take it personally. All right. So other than that, we are at the end. This is one of the longer meetings that we've had. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, Farger. Second, anyone?
Second.
Second.
Adams, yes.
Myra,
yes. Sorry.
Bornstein, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Diana.
Kiana,
Emmons, yes.
Ettinger, yes.
Foster, yes.
Gershman, yes.
Curcio, yes.
that was a thing of beauty, people, a thing of beauty. All right, remember, February 4th, in person or via Zoom. I am sure that my internet is going to charge me about $50 for this meeting. So, because I used all my Wi-Fi, but we'll see you later. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.
Bye.